roller coaster that we've all been riding in crypto. But do give him a big Sloss Tech welcome to the stage, Chris Maurice, Yellow Card.
Yeah, so thank you for that intro. Please don't throw things at me. But I'm Chris Maurice. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Yellow Card. We're the cash to crypto on-ramp for emerging markets. So we help connect people in the developing world with decentralized finance. So in layman's terms, I sell Bitcoin in Nigeria. Bitcoin is the thing that your trendy nephew told you about at Thanksgiving that you really should have invested in. And Nigeria is the place that prince keeps emailing you from. So I was a bit of a late minute addition, but I'm excited to be here, tell my story, and hope that we can all learn a little something from it about seizing opportunities no matter where they are, even if they bring you to Nigeria. So my story starts in New Orleans, born and raised in a family of mostly accountants. As you can imagine, family holidays are just great. And I started my first business in 5th grade. I would go on Craigslist, find trading cards, Pokemon, football, whatever was available. People that didn't know how much they were worth, I would buy it on Craigslist, go flip it on eBay, and make a little bit of money. I did that throughout middle school and then into high school. And about 11th grade, the New Orleans Hornets changed their name to the Pelicans. Everybody was really excited, and everybody wanted one of these t-shirts. So I took all that trading card money, and I went and bought up every single t-shirt I could find. I put them in my locker at school, and I started peddling shirts out of my locker. The administration loved me. So I did that for about a year and a half. And upon graduation, I didn't have a locker anymore. So overnight, I lost about 100% of my customers. And what that made me realize is, now with the internet, we're not limited to physical locations anymore. I can just do something online. I'll figure it out. So I got online and started offering freelance writing services. I had no idea how to price it, so I was writing 800 words for $2. If you've ever written a paper before, you know how long 800 words is. So that summer between high school and college, I was writing 10 to 12 hours a day, and at the end of the day, I would have an entire $20 bill to show for it. So that went on for probably about a month, and over the course of that time, I was collecting positive reviews, all these great referrals. And all of a sudden, I'm shooting up to the #1 slot on all these major freelancing websites. And I realized, hey, I don't need to write 800 words for $2 anymore. I can charge $15 for 500 words. And because I was already #1, I was still getting customers. So I hired 2 people to write for me, so I didn't actually have to write anymore. So I had a writing business, and I was not actually writing. The best kind of business you can have. So now I'm in college. I have some passive income coming in, and I was eating lunch with a friend of mine from India. He was going back. His family's big into the metalwork industry there. So we're talking to him. It's around the time of the Super Bowl, and we said, hey man, let's make some replica Lombardi trophies. You got all these materials and everything at the factory, and let's do it. So we threw a bunch of money at that, and it came out great. And the first thing that you do when you get replica Lombardi trophies is you take a photo shoot. So all of a sudden, I have a lot of these kick-ass pictures of me holding up, like I'm some sort of football star, holding up these trophies. And people start contacting me, and they say, hey, where did you get those? And I would say, oh, well, I made them. And they said, cool. Can you make other stuff? And I said, yeah, sure. Why not? What do you need? And next thing I know, I have a business partner in India. We're working with several factories there. All of the business that we're doing is in rupee. Now I'm managing an international business. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we got into it, and all of a sudden we're selling custom metalwork out of India. And so I don't tell all of these stories to show you the diversity of the nonsense that I've gotten into over the years. But more so to say that it's important to seize upon these opportunities that might present themselves, no matter where they are geographically, no matter who you're working with, as long as there's an opportunity there for everybody to end up happy in the end. And so when my now co-founder Justin started teaching me about Bitcoin, That was the first thing on my mind is, where's the market for this? What can we do with it? And one day, I was on eBay, of all places, and it said, you bought this, so you might be interested in 1 Bitcoin. And I'm thinking, that's weird. I thought this was a currency. Why are they selling it on eBay? So I send the link over to Justin, I call him up, and I said, hey, man, you got to check this out. People are selling Bitcoin on eBay. Bitcoin was like $150 at the time. We should have just held all of it instead of selling it, but people were selling Bitcoin on eBay for about 150%, 200% markup. And I said, I don't really understand this, but if we can make 200%, sign me up. So we start selling Bitcoin on eBay. Within about 15 minutes, we did our first sale. Over the course of the first day, before I went to bed that day, we had done $10,000 in sales. I am seeing stars at this point. I am 15 seconds away from calling my mom and telling her I'm adding college dropout to my resume. This is phenomenal. Over the course of that first week, we did $40,000 in sales. And that's when I learned what a credit card chargeback is. So what was happening is people would steal a credit card, buy Bitcoin from us. We would send them the Bitcoin. Turns out Bitcoin's irreversible. Credit cards, on the other hand, not so much. The real owner would call their bank, say, hey, I didn't authorize this. The bank would call PayPal, yank the money back from us. So we had already sent them the Bitcoin, and now we were out the money too. So some lessons are learned the hard way and learned very quickly. But thanks to our rigorous accounting system on Google Sheets, we noticed that we did have some legitimate customers. And so we would call them up and we would ask, why are you paying 150% to buy Bitcoin? What's wrong with you? Putting it, frankly. And every single one of them had the same answer. They said, Coinbase takes 8 days. I don't want to wait that long. I just want to buy Bitcoin. I want to buy as much or as little of it as I want, and I want it now. And so Justin and I start talking, and we're thinking, man, maybe there is a market here. At this point, we're triggered by even the concept of plastic in general, so credit cards were a no-go. So we decided to accept the only irreversible payment method known to man, and that's cash. So we put ads on what was essentially Craigslist for Bitcoin, saying, hey, come meet up with us, give us your cash, and we'll give you Bitcoin. And people start responding to this ad. Apparently, there's a lot of people in Auburn that want to buy Bitcoin. And the only thing at this point that we need is somewhere to collect all of this cash. So, Justin and I have everything set up. We just need somewhere where people can come in and give us thousands of dollars in cash, and we can give them Bitcoin. So we chose the only place that 2 college students in our position could logically choose. This was right around the time that the Doritos Locos Taco had come out, so it was really prime time. We'd already be there anyways, so we might as well have somebody come in and slap $2,000 cash on the table with nacho cheese dust on my fingers. And so we start selling Bitcoin at Taco Bell. And every Wednesday at 7 p.m., you could come to the Taco Bell on College Street, slap $300 cash on the table while we're eating dinner, and we would give you Bitcoin. And we did this for about a month, and it started going really well. And we started thinking, man, maybe we can do this at other universities. So we call up our friends at LSU, Georgia, Yale, Georgia Tech, UBA, South. We had 7 universities now where you could walk into a Taco Bell and buy Bitcoin. So if you were going to Taco Bell at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday, anywhere in the eastern United States, there was like a 20% chance you could have also bought Bitcoin while you were there. At one point, I think we were outselling the tacos. So we did this again for about a month and a half, and one day Justin and I are talking to each other, and we're sitting down, and we thought, hey, maybe we should do something less sketchy. So, with that in mind, we called up our brilliant lawyer who's in the audience. Hey, Michael. And he helped us start Yellow Card. And what Yellow Card was originally was the concept to put this gift card in stores, Walmart, Publix, all the above, and make it as easy to buy Bitcoin as it is to buy bread. And we started working on that for a while. And it was going great. We were getting some traction. There was some interest in what we were doing. And one day, Justin and I were at a Wells Fargo in Auburn, Alabama. And the man in front of us was sending $200 back to his family in Nigeria. The bank charged him $90 to send $200 to Nigeria, 45% to send money to his family in Africa. We were appalled. They don't teach you this stuff in college. We had no idea that this went on in the world. So we talked to the man briefly, and we explained to him what Bitcoin was. We said, hey, with Bitcoin, you can send it instantly for virtually free. But we went home later that day, and we started thinking about it. And what came to mind is, what on earth is somebody in Lagos, Nigeria, going to do with $200 worth of Bitcoin? What does that mean for you? You can't buy food with it. You can't buy electricity. What does it actually practically do for them? You can get it over there, but then what? And we started going through this process. Fortunately, Munachi, who's now our third co-founder and lives in Nigeria, we'd known him at the time, so we start talking to him. We start bothering him late at night, asking him all kinds of questions. We would call him while he was asleep, having to figure out the whole time zone thing. Eventually, I think he just kind of got fed up, and he said, hey, if you want to know about this market so bad, why don't you come over here and experience it? So without thinking twice, we bought 2 one-way tickets to Lagos, Nigeria, to go stay with a man that we had never met before. I have never had more anxiety in my life than I did calling my mom after all of this was finalized to tell her that. So we go to Nigeria. We land at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport in Lagos. We get out. We go to the first woman, and she says, okay, let me see your yellow fever card. And I said, what's that? And she says, your yellow fever card, your vaccines to get into the country. And I said, must be in my other pants. And she looks at me and she says, okay, that's okay, we'll go get you immunized. I'm already afraid of needles, so the idea of getting a shot at a Nigerian hospital was not really sitting well with me. I said, hey, what else can we do about this? She leans in, she looks both ways. This is the first person we've talked to when we got to Nigeria. She looks both ways, and she goes, give me $20. I said, all right, deal. So $20, and I got through customs without having my shots. We go up to the next person. He says, let me see your passport. I give him my passport. I had that. He says, okay, go to immigrations. I go to the next person. He says, let me see your passport and your visa. I give him the passport, and I give him a letter from Munachi that said we were going to be staying with him. And he goes, what's this? And I said, that's the letter saying that we're staying here. He goes, you think I can let you into the country with this? I was like, yeah. This is what I knew we were in trouble. He looks me right in the eyes, full military garb. He goes, no, not today. So he calls over he goes to Justin. He goes, you, come over here. He walks us out of the airport. He walks us up to the Lufthansa ticket counter. He cuts everybody in line. He points at the woman. He goes, you, print them 2 tickets. They're going to Germany. I was like, hold on. Germany? I was like, sir, we're going to have the same problem there. I don't have a visa there either. They're just going to send us back here. I try reasoning with him. I was like, come on, man, you'll have a direct flight to Atlanta. I was like, send us there. He's like, no, you're going to Germany. So he prints us out these 2 tickets. He brings us back through security. He sits us down in the airport. It's 6 p.m. in Nigeria. We're sitting in the Nigerian airport with 2 tickets to Germany, just waiting to get kicked out of the country. We call up Munachi. We're freaking out. We were like, man, you got to do something. Like, you got to help us out. He goes, no worries. I'll take care of it. He calls us back 30 minutes later. He goes, tell him you know Ruth. I was like, who's Ruth? It's cool. Just tell him you know Ruth. So I call the guy over. Again, full military garb, real scary looking guy. Call him over. And I go, hey, man, it's good. We know Ruth. And the man looks at me. He goes, who's Ruth? I call Munachi back, and I was like, man, he doesn't know who Ruth is. He goes, oh, I thought that would work. He was like, don't worry, just give me some time. I was like, all right, man, just, hurry up. So he doesn't call us back for like an hour. We can't get a hold of him. Finally, an hour later, he calls me up. He says, man, check your email. There are 2 visas in there. I was like, excuse me? He was like, yeah, and I predated them 2 weeks, so it looks like you actually knew what you were doing. I was like, how did you make? I caught myself halfway. I was like, you know what? Never mind. We'll worry about that later. So I called the man over. I said, hey, look, we got our visas. He looks at him. He goes, no, too bad. You're going to Germany. I was like, oh, crap. So another guy walks by. I call him over. I was like, hey, I kind of explained the situation. I was like, here's our visas. And he goes, oh, what are you doing here? Walks us out of the airport. So that was how we got into the country. And I tell you this partially so that you can laugh at my pain, and partially because you don't actually need to know everything before getting into a situation. I mean, a lot of what you're going to do is learning on the go. We didn't even know that you needed a visa to get into the country, and we were going there to do business. So, not exactly the best start, but we figured it out. Munachie predated him somehow, and we were good. And so, jump in. The water is fine, and if you burn yourself a little bit, it's cool. Swim around, you'll figure it out. So anyways, we're in Nigeria, and we have a packed schedule. We're meeting with bankers, we're meeting with crypto traders in the country, and we're just trying to understand more and more about this market. And what we came to realize is things don't exactly work the same way there that they do here. There's no access to payments, there's no access to savings, and there's no access to credit. And when I say credit, only 2% of people in Nigeria are able to access credit. Think about all of the things in the US that we buy on credit. If you pay your electricity bill at the end of the month, you're getting it on credit. If you're paying water at the end of the month, you're getting it on credit. If you have a mortgage, you're getting that on credit. If you want electricity in Nigeria, you have to prepay it. You have to go buy a voucher, redeem that online, and then the electricity company gives you electricity for like 18 hours a day. If you want water, same thing. You have to prepay it. If you want a house, you have to buy it in cash. There are no mortgages there. And we start understanding some of these problems, and we start thinking about this technology that we went over there with the intention of finding a market for. And that was cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And with crypto, it solves a number of these issues because it gives people the ability to hedge against inflation. It gives you the ability to diversify your investment and to access affordable credit. It solves a lot of the issues in the developing nations that we in the United States might take for granted. And that's all great. Now, payments, credit, lending, savings, all of that can be done on a peer-to-peer level thanks to blockchain technology. But the people in the developing world were being left behind because they didn't have the infrastructure to access it in the first place. If you're in Nigeria and you're using Naira, nobody's going to sell you Bitcoin because everybody's trying to get out of Naira in the first place. And so what we realized is Africa doesn't need another blockchain remittance company. There have been 40 of them, they've all failed. What they need is infrastructure. They need the ability to actually interface these currencies with their local economy so that man at Wells Fargo could send $200 to his family and they could actually do something with it. They could actually pull out cash that they can actually buy food, buy electricity with. And even though we went over there with the intent of starting this remittance company and changing the world and all of that, what we realized is that's not what the market needed. What it needs is infrastructure. And that's instead what we decided to build. And so today, our product is live in stores in Nigeria, where you can go in, pay in cash in your local currency, and get Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever you need. Or you can sell your cryptocurrency to us, go to the store, and pick up cash in your local currency. It's that infrastructure that they need in order to actually interface with this larger decentralized economy. So we went over there with one idea, And we ended up building an infrastructure company. I mean, considering we got into the country in the first place was a miracle. We were happy to, really adjust and do whatever we needed to do. And the big message behind that is it's okay to pivot, and it's okay to figure it out on the go. If you have an idea and you're interested in getting started with something, get started, and you'll figure it out along the way. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you're probably going to get kicked out of a few foreign countries, but that's okay, as long as you figure it out in the end. And so now our infrastructure is set up in Nigeria, and in the last 2 months, we've processed over $250,000 in transactions. We're backed by Binance, which is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world right now, and we've even been approached by the UN as to how they could use our infrastructure for their mission work. And it's because we were willing to go and learn. We were willing to go and understand this market before just diving in with what we thought it needed. Because oftentimes, you're not your ideal customer. I'm sure not our ideal customer. And so what I'll leave you with is blockchain technology, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, these new age technologies have the potential to change the world. Not just the United States, but the world more broadly. But they're not going to be able to change the world without people that are willing to go and chart a path for it. And so my suggestion and my call to action, so to speak, is to find one of these new age technologies that you're passionate about, be it artificial intelligence, big data, blockchain. Bitcoin would be, I'm biased, but it's the best. Find one of these technologies that you're passionate about and go solve a problem with it. Don't be afraid to leave your hometown. Don't be afraid to go abroad. Go figure out where there's a market for this technology, fix a problem, and help to change the world for the better using this technology. Make the world a little bit smaller. That's it. That's all I have. So.